concept, oxidation is the process of addition of oxygen. So during burning, reaction with oxygen takes place. That's why we can say that burning is an oxidation process or reaction with oxygen. So we have seen that metal reacts with oxygen forming metal oxide. And the nature of metal oxide in general is basic in nature. Basic in nature means reacts with that particular oxide reacts with water forming a base. But there is two exceptional cases are there in metal category. One is aluminum, another is zinc. These are two metals. Instead of forming a basic oxide, they are forming amphoteric oxide. Amphoteric oxides are those oxides which are capable of reacting with both acid and base, isn't it? So one example we have seen in detail, aluminum. Besides aluminum, one more example is also there, zinc. So these are the two metals which are forming amphoteric oxides. Okay, so this is all about the reaction with the oxygen, and there are some metals which do not react with oxygen. We can't burn that metal like silver and gold. Okay, and there are some cases where for starting oxidation, for starting burning, extra energy is required. Why is it very essential to remove oxide coating all over the metal? For some metals like highly reactive metals, magnesium, aluminum, these are some cases where before start burning, we have to remove the oxide film all over the metal by using a sandpaper. Why is it very essential? It is essential because if it is there all over the metal, it will not react with oxygen further and the expected products are not obtained. Okay, so because of this is possible in some cases. Mostly these metals are coming under the category highly reactive metals. Okay, so this is all about generally burning or burning in air. Second property is related to reaction with water. So we have seen sodium and potassium are two metals which reacts with even cold water forming corresponding product. Okay, but there are some metals which do not react with water when it is at low temperature. Like, so you can write some example. For example, magnesium. Magnesium do not react with cold water. It reacts only hot water. It reacts with only hot water forming corresponding product. Okay. Okay. Then let us think about two cases where they are neither reacts with cold hot water nor reacts with cold water. Instead of that, they reacts with the steam, gaseous form of water. Which are the metals? And the metals are aluminum and iron. Okay, aluminum and iron. One more difference is also there. Normal reaction of other metals and these two metals. So aluminum and iron reacts with water. Instead of forming a hydroxide, they forms oxides. Okay, which are the metals? Aluminum and iron. So we will write the reaction corresponding to only these two metals. And one example of general case. Okay, so one example we have already written with sodium. Here you can write the example of iron. It is the exceptional case Fe reacts with water. How to identify whether it is in the gaseous form or it is in the cold water or hot water? Here, normally we are using the symbol L because normal water exists in the liquid form only. But if in the case where it reacts with only gaseous form, steam, here we can use the symbol G. So iron reacts with water forming iron oxide Fe3O4 plus H2 hydrogen gas is eliminated. So it is corresponding oxide. In the case of sodium, we have seen that it is corresponding hydroxide. And in this case, it is corresponding oxide. So you can balance the equation later. Similarly, one more metal, you can use the example of aluminium, you can do it yourself. And other element, one more element is there that I will give. Sudden reacts with water in the form of steam. We get zinc oxide plus hydrogen. The equation is already balanced. And aluminium also gives the similar product. So aluminium you can write yourself. Aluminium reacts with water, forms aluminium oxide and hydrogen gas. Okay, so this is all about the reaction with the water. Third reaction is reaction with acids. Reaction with the acids. Okay, general reaction you can remember. When metals reacts with the acid, forming corresponding salt and hydrogen gas. So general equation we can write metal plus acid forms corresponding salt plus hydrogen gas. We can exemplify it with the magnesium. Magnesium, here we can take the example of hydrochloric acid. Magnesium reacts with the hydrochloric acid, forms magnesium chloride plus hydrogen gas. Okay, so corresponding salt. This is general case. Okay, but remember, nitric acid is also an acid, but it never reacts with the metal, forming hydrogen. What is the reason? Because nitric acid is a powerful oxidizing agent. So, hydrogen gas is formed in the reaction, but nitric acid oxidizes hydrogen into water. So instead of hydrogen gas, water is formed as the product in nitric acid. Okay, sulfuric acid again we get salt only, there is no change. Clear? Understood? So you can write the example with zinc. Write the example. Zinc plus HNO3. As usual, we get the corresponding salt. Which one? ZnNO3 twice. Okay, and here we have H2. And one more product is also obtained plus NO3. So you can balance the equation. Zn plus HNO3 giving ZnNO3 twice plus H2O plus NO3. This is the product obtained when nitric acid undergo reduction. We have learned that oxidizing agent undergo reduction. So nitric acid is an oxidizing agent which undergo reduction forming NO2. At the same time, hydrogen formed during the reaction oxidizes to water. So these are the products obtained. And here also there is very interesting factor. There are two metals which reacts with dilute nitric acid, dilute. And in this case also there are two forms of nitric acid. Either it is in the dilute form or it is in the concentrated form. So two metals like magnesium and manganese. Only two metals which reacts with the dilute nitric acid forming hydrogen gas. So I'll take the example of Mg plus HNO3 and along with this you can write dilute DIL forming MgNO3 whole twice plus H2. Okay, 2HNO3 we can use. So this is the case where we get the hydrogen gas. Similar with the manganese, Mn. Mn also gives the similar product, corresponding salt and hydrogen gas. So this is all about the reaction with the acids. Okay, now the last reaction is reaction with the salt solutions. Reaction with the salt solution. Fourth reaction, reaction with the salt solution. This is just repetition of the reaction, single displacement reaction. This we have seen, single displacement reaction. What is single displacement reaction? Highly reactive metal displaces less reactive metal from its salt solution. This is the exact reaction in this case. So let us see one example, very familiar example. Fe plus CuSO4 giving FeSO4 plus C. So in this case, iron is more reactive than copper. That's why iron displaces copper from copper sulfate, forms iron sulfate and copper. From the color, we can make out that whether the reaction has completed or not. Copper sulfate is blue in color, iron sulfate is green in color. Now the next question is, how can you decide that which is more reactive and which is less reactive? Exactly, this is in the next topic, reactivity series. By using this reactivity series, its general form. I did not get your question, Karthikeya. Will you repeat it?
Ma'am, I'm asking the general form of this reaction with salt solution.
No need of giving any general formula, okay? Because this is conditional. If suppose instead of iron, if copper is coming, Cu plus FeSO4, so we will not have any reaction, okay? So we can't write, instead of writing a general reaction, we can write a specific example. Okay, because this reaction is conditional. If the free metal is more reactive than metal in the salt solution, then only there is the possibility of reaction. Otherwise, there will be no reaction at all. Okay, got it?
Okay, ma'am.
So it is better to remember one example, specific example. Reactivity series, you have to remember that order. I think we have already seen this reactivity series. Am I right? Have you written it? Potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminium, zinc, lead, iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, silver, gold, like this. Have you written it in the copy anywhere in the previous chemistry chapter?
Yes, ma'am.
So please try to learn the sequence in order, because this is the topic from where we can expect some conceptual question. You may provide it with some reactions, and you were asking about the products, which are the possible products of tea. So how can you come to know that which is more reactive and which is less reactive? So from this series only you can make out. So please try to learn the sequence so that it will be easy for you. Okay. So these are general reactions of metal. And the next step is what is the reaction between a metal and a non-metal? Reaction between a metal and non-metal. So this topic, before watching this, let us see some slides regarding the same. I will explain this first, then we will see this, all the videos. So generally a metal reacts with a non-metal, forming a different type of compound called ionic compounds. Okay, understood? A metal reacts with a non-metal, forming a new type of compounds called ionic compounds. Why is it called ionic compound? So let us see some example. Then afterwards, it will not take much time. It will take hardly 2-3 minutes or maximum 5 minutes. Let us take very simple example. Sodium. Sodium reacts with the non-metal chlorine, Na plus Cl. Very familiar example so that we can understand what exactly the reaction takes place. When sodium reacts with the chlorine, sodium is a metal, chlorine is a non-metal. Before going in detail, let us see the atomic number, electronic configuration of all the metal and non-metals. So, sodium atomic number 11. Configuration is 281. Same time, chlorine atom atomic number is 17 and its configuration is 287. So, sodium has a tendency to lose electron and chlorine has a tendency to gain electron. And as a result, sodium lose one electron forming Na plus. Similarly, chlorine gain one electron forming Cl minus. And Na plus and Cl minus combine together to form NaCl. Since the compound is formed from ions, the type of compound obtained is called the ionic compound. Okay, so this is the exact reaction takes place when a metal reacts with a non-metal. In this case also try to specify one example. Sodium reacts with the chlorine forming sodium chloride. So this is the process. And if you want to do the reaction, chemical reaction in the form of chemical equation, you can write Na plus Cl2 giving NaCl. So in order to balance the equation, two chlorine atoms are on LHS. We can put 2 as coefficient on RHS. Now the number of sodium atom is not balanced on LHS. By adding 2 as coefficient in sodium, we can solve the problem so the equation get balanced. Now, so 2 sodium plus chlorine giving 2 NaCl. This is not one example, this is the process and this is the example in the form of chemical equation. Now let us look on another example. Mg plus O2. Magnesium reacts with oxygen. You know that magnesium is a metal and oxygen is a non-metal. Magnesium atomic number 12 and its configuration is 282. When it loses 2 electrons, it gains the charge 2 plus. Similarly, oxygen is a non-metal with atomic number 8. Its configuration is 2,6. By gaining 2 electrons, it gains the noble gas configuration. So we have O2 minus. So you know that here we have Mg2 plus and O2 minus. So the charges are cancel each other. So we get the product MgO. And magnesium oxide is also an ionic compound. Okay, so this is the reaction between a metal and non-metal. So you can write the reaction in this way. When a metal reacts with a non-metal, resulting an ionic compound. Why they are called ionic compound? They are called ionic because they are formed from ions. So general point we can remember it. Ionic compounds are formed from atoms of a metal and a non-metal. Metal lose its electron to form a cation. Non-metal gain electron to form an anion. This cation and anion combines together to form an ionic compound. 2 examples are more than sufficient. So now what are the properties of ionic solids? Generally you remember 4 properties. First property is physical nature. Ionic compounds are generally exist in the solid form. Solid. This is the physical state of ionic compound. Second point is about their melting point and boiling point. You know that ionic compounds are made up of ions, positive and negative ion. So there is strong force of attraction exists between ions in ionic solids. Because of this reason, ionic solids possess high melting point and boiling point. Very high melting point. And the reason is due to strong intermolecular force of attraction. And the last point is, not last, second last, solubility. What do you mean by solubility? Are they soluble in water or they soluble in some other solvent? What do you think? Are they soluble in water? Ionic solid soluble in water. What
Yes,
is
ma'am.
the reason? What is the reason? Water is a polar solvent. What do you mean by polar solvent? Remember that polar solvent is a solvent in which charge separation is possible. Charge means what? When we write H2O, when we want to write the ionic form of a water, so we can write H plus OH minus. This H plus and OH minus combine together forming water. So water has two ends, one end with positive charge and another end with negative charge. So those compounds exist in the form of dipoles. Dipole means two poles. They are generally called polar compounds. Polar bear, you heard about polar bear? Those bear live in polar region, Arctic or Antarctic region. So the word polar related to charge. Okay. So when we consider the solubility, ionic solids are soluble in water because water is a polar solvent. It has two charges, one positive and one negative end. Similarly, ionic solids are also exist in the form of ions, one positive ion and one negative ion, like NaCl. Sodium chloride exists as Na plus and Cl minus. Okay, so this is the third property. They are highly soluble in polar solvent. You know that salt is soluble in water, isn't it? Salt. Because sodium chloride is a ionic solid, ionic compound. That's it. Last point is conductivity. Say, are they conduct electricity or not? Are ionic? No. Ionic solids not conduct electricity. It is conditional. Conditional means what? If we have a pure sodium chloride solid, it never conducts electricity. It conducts electricity either in the aqueous form or in the molten form. कोई भी आयनिक सॉलिड अगर सॉलिड फॉर्म में है, it will not conduct any electricity. Instead of solid form, if it exists in the form of either in aqueous solution. Aqueous solution means what? Aqua means what? Water. When we prepare salt solution, सोडियम क्लोराइड पानी में मिला के सोल्यूशन बना देते हैं, then that solution is a good conductor of electricity. या सोडियम क्लोराइड को मेल्ट करो, it has a very high melting point. मेल्ट करने के बाद जो सोडियम क्लोराइड मिलते हैं इसको बोलते हैं molten form. Molten, melted form. It can be also conduct electricity. Reason, what is the reason behind? अगर सॉलिड स्टेट में है तो ये सोडियम पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव एंड की मूवमेंट नहीं होती है. अगर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पास करना है, आइदर आयन होना चाहिए या इलेक्ट्रॉन होना चाहिए. सॉलिड स्टेट में ये दोनों नहीं होती है एंड मूवमेंट भी नहीं होती है. बट इफ इट इज इन दी aqueous form or it is in the molten form, mobility of ions are possible, movement of ions are possible. Because of this reason, it conducts electricity. Okay, so this is all about the topic Huh? Okay. Now let us see that slide. So few slides are there. It's interesting. I feel it is interesting. So मैं सोच रही थी आपको भी बता दूं. ठीक है. So वापस आ गई मैं. Now I am sharing my screen first. फर्स्ट पीरियड में हमारे जो कनेक्टिविटी में प्रॉब्लम था इसलिए वो दिख नहीं पा रहे थे. दिस टाइम आई हैव ट्राइड 2-3 टाइम्स इट वाज वर्किंग. देखते हैं तुम्हारे इसी टाइम में अगर कनेक्टिविटी प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, नेटवर्क इशू नहीं है तो देख सकते हैं. ठीक है. लेट अस मेक ए ट्रायल. 2 slides I want to show you. First of all, let us see reactivity series. Okay.
The reactivity series depicts metals in decreasing order of their chemical reactivity. It helps us to compare the reactivity of different.
This is the definition we can remember. Reactivity series is the series in which metals are arranged in the order of decreasing chemical reactivity. Those who want to note down the definition can write the definition. Reactivity series is series of metal. Reactivity series of metals. So when you go to higher classes, there also you have to learn such a series. But it is called electrochemical series. And what is the difference between electrochemical series and this reactivity series? In this reactivity series, only metals are included. But in the electrochemical series, all elements are included, including metals as well as non-metal. So that is the difference. So specify the term reactivity series of metal. Okay. So reactivity series is the series in which metals are arranged in the order of decreasing reactivity. Okay.
Metals when heated in air, with water, and with acids. The reactivity series helps us to identify how easily a metal reacts with air. What happens when it is heated? The best method for extraction from its ore and how it should be stored. Higher the position of the metal in the series, the more reactive it is. A metal higher in the series can displace any metal below it from its compounds. For example, magnesium is higher in the series than copper. Let's see what happens when we add magnesium to blue copper 2 sulfate solution. You will see the blue color fading away, leaving a colorless solution. The more reactive magnesium has displaced the less reactive copper to form magnesium sulfate, and brown bits of copper metal form a precipitate.
You can see that copper is deposited at the bottom portion of beaker. You can see. Okay.
Another important point to remember is that the more reactive a metal is, the more difficult it is to extract from its ore. Less reactive metals such as gold and silver are often found in a free state. But the more reactive metals higher in the series will never be found in nature as free elements. That is why their extraction is more difficult. The metals in the middle of the series are moderately reactive and found in the Earth's crust as oxides, sulfides, and carbonates. More about the reactivity of metals, let's compare the reactivity of different metals when heated in air, how they react with water, and how they react with acids. Click each tab for a quick overview of each of these different types of reactions.
Okay, so let us see another one. This is more than sufficient. One more slide is there so that we can see now. Properties, it is related to reaction of a metal and a non-metal. Okay, so let us see that.
We've learned that all elements strive to attain a stable octet or duplet in their outermost shell. The valency of an element is the number of electrons it must gain or lose in order to attain a stable octet. An atom that loses electrons in order to form a stable octet gets a net positive charge, as the number of protons is now more than the number of electrons. This positively charged ion is called a cation. When sodium loses the single electron in its outermost shell, it becomes a sodium cation. An atom that gains electrons in order to form a stable octet gets a net negative charge, as the number of electrons is now more than the number of protons. This negatively charged ion is called an anion. When chlorine gains an electron in its outermost shell, it becomes a chloride anion. Positively charged cations and negatively charged anions are held together by strong forces of attraction to form ionic compounds. Therefore, when sodium and chlorine are brought into contact, they react violently, and we obtain the ionic compound sodium chloride. Based on what we've just learned, it can be said that metals and non-metals react to form ionic compounds. Let's look at one more example. The potassium atom has an electronic configuration of 2A.
This example, maybe you can note it down in your copy. Let us take another example with the potassium. So potassium has atomic number 19 and its configuration is 2881. Okay.
8, 1. Potassium must lose the single electron from its outermost shell to complete its octet. We know that chlorine has a configuration of 2, 8, 7 and needs to gain one electron in its outermost shell in order to complete its octet. When potassium reacts with chlorine, it loses its valence electron to chlorine. This reaction creates a potassium cation with a positive charge and a chloride anion with a negative charge. The positively charged potassium cation and the negatively charged chlorine anion are held together by strong forces of attraction to form potassium chloride, an ionic compound. So, we have learned that in ionic bonding, atoms gain or lose electrons to become positively or negatively charged ions. These oppositely charged ions are held together by strong forces of attraction and form ionic compounds.
Can you notice this particular heading title, give and take? Okay, give and take. So this is very essential to our life also. Okay, give and take. Clear? So this is all about the reactions of metals.